Well, welcome everybody. Good morning. I've got a fun class planned for us today. The intention for today has to do with pushing ourselves just outside of our comfort zone. And so there's going to be some poses that maybe you've done all of them before, maybe you've done, several of them that you have never done before, and that's okay. It's just kind of a fun practice to play around with what possibilities are available to us in our own bodies. And so our goal, get just outside of your comfort zone. So if you're, more toward the beginner side of yoga, don't feel any sort of pressure to do things that that don't seem safe and that you're not ready for. But that being said, there's preparatory stuff to each of the fun poses that we're doing today. So just, get outside your comfort zone just a little bit. Let yourself have fun. Let yourself play with some of these poses. And so that's our simple intention today. Just have fun with it. And so with that, let's go ahead and make our way all the way down onto our backs. Enjoying a few really good deep breaths in and out of the body. A few good deep breaths as if we're breathing life force into our body. Imagine that oxygen took on a deeper, more intense quality. And that is the quality of life force. So take a few sips of that. Another beautiful inhale. With our fun exhale, let's begin to bring the knees all the way into the chest, hand on each knee. Any type of knee circles or movements around the hips that feel helpful this early in the morning. Some days I'm tuning into my body right here and I start to feel like, okay, today's a day to keep it easy. Nothing wrong with that. All the poses, you don't have to push all the way to the end. Other days it's like, okay, I'm feeling playful, I'm feeling ready to go. So if that's your day today, great. This is a great day to really get outside your comfort zone just a little bit. Okay, we're gonna drop the left foot down. You can either have the foot planted or extend it long, and the right leg goes up to the sky. Hands help to bring that foot in as close as it can come toward our body. Maybe we're doing ankle rolls, maybe we're straightening the leg, your choice. How do you best feel this? Some of the poses that we're building up to are poses like Kundalini. There's not really an English name for it because it's named after a sage, but it's essentially a flying split. And so part of what we'll be doing to get ourselves started is get into the hamstrings and get into the hips, opening both those up for great possibilities today. So let's enjoy 3 more breaths, trying to get the leg a little bit closer if there's still more space. Another good breath in. With a good exhale, leave this leg floating up. The arms reach up overhead. We're going to do 2 cycles, almost like a crunch. The first one, we lift up our head, neck, and shoulders. The arms touch to the inner part of this right thigh. You're trying to get as high up an arm as you can when you lift up. You return back down, take another inhale. Exhale, you're touching your left arm to the outside of the right thigh. And then back down. From there, switch the legs out. Inhale, up to the inner thigh. And second one, exhale to the outer thigh, switch the legs. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, switch. Exhale, inhale down, exhale up, inhale, switch. Good, let's go 3 more with each leg. Here's 3. And 2. 1. Good, coming up. Rest everything all the way down. Stretch the arms up overhead. If you joined me yesterday for yoga Pilates, maybe you felt that one. I didn't even realize I was sore until just now. Just let yourself have a few good deep breaths into your body. Imagining somebody's pulling your arms further up and your feet further down. Find that really good stretch and length. Beautiful. Second leg comes up, left leg floats. And grab onto that leg. Pull it in for that beautiful stretch. More breaths. Do you need to add some movement? Can the leg come a little bit closer? Just asking your body a few questions. Okay, arms reach up overhead. This time we're going to do a leg switch with each one. And so each time our arms come to the outer thigh. So when the left leg is up, our right arm goes to the outer thigh, and then switching sides. So when you're ready, start to hover right leg, reach the arms up overhead, take an inhale to prep, exhale, reach up, inhale, switch, exhale, reach up, inhale, switch. 9, 9, 8, 8, 7, 7, 6, 6, 5, 5, more than halfway, 4, 4, 3, 3, 2, 2, last set, and 1. Good, resting all the way back down. Good work. Now, some of us with that very first thing might already be right about in our comfort zone. And that's great. You can always take little breaks. Know that child pose is totally welcome at any point today. Just curling yourself in a nice ball and breathing. Nothing wrong with that at all. Just take another breath of recovery. And then bring the right knee into the chest. We're gradually going to start opening up the hip here. So with the right hand, the knee is brought wide to the right. When the knee lifts up, left hand takes it slightly over to the left. It's not a full twist yet. We'll head to the full twist later. We're just opening wide so that the femur bone gets a chance to expand wide and then getting pulled across for that internal rotation. Good. A few more cycles. We go wide, and then with this last one, the knee crosses all the way over into a spinal twist. Perhaps gazing over the right side, trying to keep the right shoulder down. Spinal twist can feel really good early on in practice because it's like it frees up any of the stuck vertebrae. Sometimes you get that lucky day where you get a good bone pop. And so that's just lovely to help get those gases out so that you have more space to move. Good. Start to return the hip all the way back down. Lengthen the leg up to the sky, walking the hands up the leg. Try to pull the forehead in toward the kneecap. Trying to get that stretch just slightly deeper than a moment ago. When our hands begin to release, The muscular control of the leg slowly lowers it all the way back down to the earth. Once it touches down, left knee comes in. Both hands hug it in, just a moment. And then pass the knee wide and across. Wide and across, repeating a few more times. One more time, all the way open, and then all the way over, staying in the spinal twist, maybe gazing over the left fingers this time. Even though we're twisted, can you feel the belly breath going on? More wonderful inhale and exhale. The hip returns down, the leg straightens up, forehead tries to come up toward the knee, lifting up to that direction. Hamstring stretches just a bit more than before. And with that release, the muscular control takes over. Slowly lower the leg. Beautiful. Reach the arms up overhead. Take an inhale. Exhale, try to roll up one vertebrae at a time. We lift up through a straight, tall spine, and then we reach over the toes and relax the arms entirely, dropping the arms to the sides of the legs. We want to make sure to include the hamstrings as much as possible, so here we add a few pulses. The pulse is when we inhale, we try to straighten from the very low part of the back, and exhale, completely release even deeper than before. And just follow your breath like that a few good times. Inhale, trying to find a little bit more length. Exhale, trying to release even deeper. Inhales and exhales. Take 3 more of these and then completely release. Once again, taking ourselves just outside of our comfort zone. There's that zone where we normally just want to plop forward onto. We're going just beyond that to the point where hamstrings are really stretching. Maybe they're not quite trembling, they're not shaking because they're so pulled yet. We're still warming up our body. But really bring yourself close to that edge, just outside the comfort zone. Planting the hands, we're supporting our spine as it gradually floats back up to stack. Once we're there, swing this left knee, the left leg in, just to kind of set yourself up in a nice balanced place with a low body. And with the right leg, we're going to rock it out like a little baby cradle. So one hand at the knee, one hand at the foot, or travel deeper into the forearms or the elbow. Now the spine naturally wants to round back, so try to straighten yourself taller and then rock it out just a little bit, getting into the hip, go left and right. Both directions, nice and wonderful for that hip. here's a zone to play with where we're headed next. Not everybody's going to be able to go the full distance, and so get yourself just past what the easy spot is. That's how we get out of the comfort zone. And so what we try to do, the left hand takes over that right foot. As the knee swings back, almost like a happy baby pose, we try to start walking the right tricep and maybe the right shoulder past that kneecap. So trying to walk it as far as it can go. And this left hand, even the right hand can grab onto the ankle to help shove it clear as far back as it can go. And then from here, just play for a moment, maybe rocking a little bit. Just notice, what is my hip capable of in relation to the shoulder? This is one of the vital steps that's coming up for us. Occasionally there's kids or people who are super open in the hips that can even take the foot right behind the head. Maybe that's, if you normally could, maybe it's too early in class still, so have patience, you're doing good. One more breath right here. And grab the hands around the ball of the foot or onto the ankle, whatever is possible for you to reach, and then extend the leg up, getting back into that hamstring. Another wonderful inhale. Exhale, swivel this knee out to the side so that we can stack right shin directly on top of left. So the spine lengthen tall. Some of those things we were doing earlier, like trying to get the shoulder there, does force a little bit of roundedness in the spine. So feel that length again. And then begin to slide the hands forward. Enjoying that stretch through the hip for a moment. Walk back in. We try to play with all that on the second side. So drop the right leg down. We baby cradle the left. So trying to get the foot as high up, whether that's holding on with the hand, getting it into the forearm, or all the way up to the elbow crease, whatever you can do. Remember, try to straighten the spine up and then rock it out. Once the hips opened up about as much as it can from this, then we start to play with getting the shoulder involved. So right hand starts off grabbing the foot. The left shoulder starts to work its way closer to the inner part of that left knee. And you continue to play. So once it's kind of in place, this left hand can kind of take over and help out, walking its way as far over as you can. Can you even plant the left hand off to the left? Just notice this kind of funky foot hook shape, or maybe working it closer to your head. Probably not all the way behind today, who knows, maybe you're there. But just playing for this moment, getting just outside your comfort zone. We're still comfortable, our body's happy, but it's just outside what we normally might do. Another good inhale. Exhale, unwind the arm. Hand clasp around foot or ankle. Extend the leg straight up. Hamstring stretch happening for us. Beautiful. Swivel the knee out to the side. Stack the shins. Posture tall. And planting the hands, start to slide your way forward. Hands find themselves on the ground, walking back in. Slip the feet directly into cobbler's pose and feel how this affects the hips in even a slightly different way, slightly deeper perhaps. Remember always, if your hands need to be planted behind, that could feel wonderful for us. Otherwise, if you're easily maintaining tall, then tilt forward and find that eventual release. Straightening back up, pick the knees up, extend the legs forward. Inhale the arms up to the sky, exhale forward fold. And 3 more pulses similar to what we did earlier. Inhale, lengthen the low back just a bit. Exhale, see if there's a little bit more space to release down. Repeating 2. And release. 1. Beautiful. With our release, we completely find our spine relaxing. Slide the hands in, press the hands into the ground to help float up. From here, we're making our way up and over. Try to lean back, balancing on your glutes as you tuck the feet in. Roll up and over onto hands and knees. Let's take a few cat-cows. Our spine continuing to wake up for us. Round up to the sky, and belly drops down. And if there's other small movements you want to take in this, such as rocking a little bit to the right, and a little bit to the left, these are fine as well. It's whatever will help to loosen up what areas are tight in our body. Whatever we're doing, we're enjoying a few more breaths. One more wonderful inhale and exhale. And rise up to a nice downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. Lots of height being found. The hips could not lift any higher if there was somebody picking them up. They're super, super, super high up. Remember, if the knees need to be bent to keep that, that's okay. Eventually, once hips can maintain height without sacrificing the spine, then the legs work towards straight. And then we start working the heels to drop down. May or may not ever happen, and that's okay. That's the order we focus on in our down dog. Take one more breath. And then from here, begin to float the right leg all the way to the sky. Reach it high. Find this extension and pause. Trying to keep the hips as square down as they can. One more good breath in. And with our exhale, step that foot all the way forward in between our hands. Drop the back knee down. We're taking a few pulses. When we go forward, we're stretching through the front of the left hip. When the hips go back, we're stretching through the bottom of the right leg. Let's repeat, going nice and slow. Here's 4. And back. 3. And back. 2. And back. 1. And back. Stay with the hamstring stretch. 3 extra breaths. After that third exhale, hands walk back up toward the top of the mat. Heel toe the foot to the outside of that right edge of the mat. From there, both hands are inside the foot. Sink the hips back forward. This is lizard pose. You're welcome to stay on hands. Maybe left elbow drops down. Maybe right elbow also. It's not a competition. This is just how open your body is. Now it's natural to find some roundedness in the spine. Just see if you can lengthen just slightly more than natural. Getting just outside that comfort zone. Take a good inhale. Exhale. Inhale, work our hands back up to plank. Tucking the back toes, we're lifting that back knee up. From here, the left foot slides up to the outside of the left hand. We try to sink down into Malasana pose, the yogic squat. If that's not happening, hold in a higher squat. You'll still be toning your body there. Elbows push to the insides of the knees as the hands are in prayer position, traveling downward. Remember, again, lengthen your spine just a little bit taller than you want to. Beautiful. From here, you can either stay another couple of breaths or take a moment with a crow pose, finding our first arm balance. Hands planting as wide as shoulders. Lift the knees up to the triceps, getting the inside of the knee on it so that they can squeeze together. Tilt forward just a little bit, gazing forward. Maybe one side of the toes lifts, maybe the other. We're gonna find a few moments of balance. Whenever you're ready to come down, we'll come back into plank. If you're in Malasana, also come to plank. You can take child pose, you can just go straight to down dog, or add in a little flow here, rocking forward, lowering down. Back bend of your choice. And down dog. Remember, hips lift high, that's our first focus. If little tiny micro movements are helpful, that's always fine. I don't mind at all. Left leg begins to float. Try to keep the hips as square as you can. See how high of a lift you have available. It's almost like we're trying to get the splits already up to this guy right here. Another inhale. Exhale, step that foot forward and through. Drop down onto the back knee. And we take those 5 pulses. Going super slow, hips go as far forward as they can. Remember, knee never goes past toes. And the hips go back, the front leg is straight. Here's 4. 3. 2 extra breaths when the leg is all the way straight again. When we get the torso to melt down just a little bit, keep the breath flowing. Remember, we're not doing yoga if you're not breathing. This next exhale, the hands walk their way forward again. The left toes go leftward. The left hand can be on the inside. And from there, hips sink forward. We're back to lizard. Maybe you stay up on hands. Maybe right elbow drops down. Maybe left elbow drops down. rise back up onto the hands, lift up the back knee, slide the right foot to outside of right hand. Another chance to go down into Malasana pose. This time we add a moment with a twist. The right shoulder tries to get closer to the right knee. Right hand drops down, left hand reaches up to the sky. Anybody who knows how to make a bind around that right leg are welcome to. You don't have to today. Working that shoulder down is getting us closer toward our ultimate goal. Start to unwind, bringing both elbows back to even. And then left shoulder slides close to the inside of left knee. Left hand drops to the ground. Right hand reaches up to the sky, or you can take the bind. Unwind, either come back to pause a little bit longer in Malasana or take another chance to play with our crow pose, finding a few breaths of balance if possible. Maybe from your crow pose you try to hop back straight to the plank. Everybody can come to the plank if you haven't already. Remember child pose, down dog, or maybe you add in a flow. Some extra strengthening here. Right leg floats up to the sky like the splits. And then we take that right knee to the outside of right tricep, shifting forward into plank and back up. Really feel the splits up to the sky. Repeat that on this side 4 more times. 4 and up. 3, we're going slow enough that you can really feel the splits. That's what this is about today. And 2 and 1. Lots of lift. Good, drop this leg down. Second side right away. Left leg floats up for that split. And shift forward plank with the knee touching the tricep. And lift. 4. And lift. 3. 2. And 1. Pause just a moment with that lift. Lots of length. Dropping the foot down, bend the knees like a spring, gaze forward, step, walk, or jump, all the way up to the top of the mat. Enjoy a few extra breaths, a beautiful forward fold right here. As you're hanging down, start to heel toe the feet closer together. You want big toes to touch, heels can be slightly separated. Enjoy an extra moment or two with the forward fold, just enjoying how this changes the muscle groups that we're experiencing on the back of our leg. With the next inhale, let's rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to the heart. And a few extra breaths just to tune into ourselves. How have we been doing up to this point in class? And working with our challenge and working on bringing ourselves just outside the comfort zone. Remember, you always have permission to not do things if that's where your being just outside the comfort zone is. That's okay. Be 100% happy with where you are. It's So take a breath in of gratitude. Thank you, body, already in class for taking me this far. And exhale out that gratitude. Beautiful. With the hands in prayer position in front of the heart, we begin to set the hips back like we're sitting into a chair. As you peek down, make sure knees do not go past toes. Take a slight scoop under of the tailbone, so a little bit of roundedness there, just making that low back much more comfortable. And so from here, try to see if you can hook the right elbow to outside of left side. If you get that hook, push the top hand down to help wind the shoulders to the side. Unwind, hands back to the heart. And twist left elbow to outside of right side, pushing down, try to wind the spine into the twist. Back up, hands to the heart. Hook the right elbow to left thigh again. Find the twist in the torso. And then gaze down, gazing just a few inches in front of the left foot. The left foot is going to be the standing foot. From there, the right foot, try to take your weight off of it so that you can slide it back into a lunge shape. From there, see if you sacrificed your spine at all, or if you can deepen the twist just a bit more. Good. Start to unhook the elbow. The back heel rotates down. Float the arms up. Warrior one. Clasp the hands behind the back. Pull the arms away from you, putting into that nice shoulder stretch as you bow forward, trying to get left shoulder just to the inside of the left knee. That game of getting closer and closer. Okay, circle back up, hips are facing back forward. Shorten the stance. Our feet are separated by about 2 feet or so, hips squaring absolutely forward. Hands at the hips to make them stay squared, and then bow forward into our pyramid pose. Once you're about halfway down, maybe hands drop to the thigh. Never directly on the knee, maybe below the knee. Maybe down to floor. It's really up to your balance, how deep you're able to go. Try to not bend that straight front leg. Another 3 breaths. And then from here we transition to standing split. Fingers go about a foot forward of where they are. Our weight goes onto that left foot. Right leg floats. We're reaching up to the sky as high as we possibly can, even if it doesn't look very high for you. Try to keep the hips as square as you can. One more breath in, and exhale, drop that foot down. We're in a forward fold. Release all muscular effort of the spine. Good, if the feet separated at all, bring the big toes back to touch, heels are slightly separated. Take another inhale, and exhale. Inhale, float the arms to the sides. We're stretching up and back, hands down to the heart. Take a moment to feel this connection. In that movement that we just took, did you have a chance to go just outside your comfort zone? Another inhale, beautiful exhale. Inhale, exhale, sit back like the chair. Okay, from here, left elbow hooks onto right thigh. Feel the spine winding into the full twist on this side. Release, hands through the center, and right elbow to left thigh. Release, left elbow hooks again. This time we stay. Try to set up your spine in as deep of a twist as it can. Gazing down, our gaze is a couple of inches in front of right foot. As left foot has less weight, we suddenly feel a moment where we can shift that foot, clear back into a lunge. Check in with the spine. Are you still winding it as the most that it possibly can? Good. Unwind the arms, rotate the back heel down. Warrior one, the arms sweep up. Clasp hands behind your back. As you bow forward, you let your hips open just a little bit to the side so you can get the right shoulder close to the right knee, the inside of it. Dropping hands down, return back up, square the hips forward, warrior one. And then hands come down to hips, shorten the stance just a bit. Two straight legs, the entirety of the foot is down on both feet. Pyramid pose, bow forward. About halfway down, we can start to slide hands down the thigh, shin, maybe floor. And maybe this is your star side. Maybe this side is so much easier to keep straight. Who knows? We're mentally preparing for standing splits before we get there. So hands need to walk forward about a foot. The right leg has our weight. Left leg begins to reach. Try not to hike open. Instead, keep the hips squared down and feel the torso coming closer to the thigh. That's where the lift becomes a little bit more accessible. One more inhale. And exhale, drop down. We're in a beautiful standing forward fold. Okay, from this point, our hamstrings are about as loose as they're willing to be at this moment. And so we're ready to start playing with the pose I've been promising you. So let's travel back to a down dog to get there. So inhale, the hands light up the shins, flatten the low back, really good length. Exhale, plant the hands back, down to the ground, step up your jump to plank. Maybe go straight to down dog or maybe take the flow. Okay, there's going to be different stopping spots in this pose, so I'll tell you each place where you do not have to go further. That way you can find the pose that works best for your body. So we're going to start off with the right leg floating all the way up to the sky. Feel that reach like a split. And then when we step down, the right foot is stepping to the outside of right hand. Nice and wide. The back knee can drop down for now. That's fine. What we're going to do is aim toward the lizard pose. But this time, we're trying to get the right shoulder almost under and through that right knee. Kind of like that pose we did earlier when we were sitting on the ground, trying to get the shoulder under and through. So, left hand is down. We start to get, I like to get my right hand by the calf to kind of have something to anchor against as my shoulder gets close under and through. And then as soon as you get that arm under and through, you're trying to plant the right hand a little bit wider than the right foot. So this is a perfectly fine stopping spot if this is probably about as far as you can go. You're trying to keep that shoulder close to the underside of the knee. And so this is, again, perfectly fine. If you're going to go for the full arm balance, and by the way, my right elbow is bent to create a little shelf for that thigh to stay on. So I feel kind of like a lizard in how it's, you know, strong off to the side. Now my left elbow has to swivel in, my belly rests down onto it. For my particular body, it kind of rests in close to the hip. So that's where I can get it. The fingers turn up to the side to allow me a shelf to rest on. This is our second stopping spot. You don't have to go further from here. From here, if you're floating a little bit further, what you need to do is start working these right toes, just inching them forward. And eventually there will be a moment where that right leg is free and can straighten out to the side. Once that leg's straight, your left leg also starts to float. And so here you're in a fun little balance pose. This is called Kundinasana. Play with it, maybe 1 or 2 more breaths. And then when you feel good, let's come back down all the way to a nice kneeling position, high kneeling or low kneeling. Let's take a moment for our wrist. Do complete circles with our hands. It's like in flamenco, tracing a floreo. Going all the way in a circle. Okay, 1 more in this direction. And then reverse. Beautiful. It's a very fun pose, that Kundinasana. Now, let's play with the second side. Know that this side might be very different. So if the first side was hard, maybe you actually are able to get a little closer on the second side. Or maybe this one is your hard side, or maybe both, I don't know. Every day is a different day, and that's why we have to get ourselves just a teeny bit outside of our comfort zone each day, because who knows, maybe today's the day where suddenly you can fly, and you never knew it until now. So that's the fun thing about yoga. Okay, when your wrists are okay for the last side, let's take our down dog again. Tuck the toes, lift the hips up nice and high. Float the left leg up like it's trying to get into the splits. Step that foot to the outside of left hand. Drop the back knee down. This is a nice resting place for now. And we have to start working the left shoulder under the left knee. As soon as you get it as far as it can, the elbow is bent, like that Komodo arm, resting the thigh onto it. Once you get that in place, you have to start working your right elbow to rest onto your hip or onto your belly, wherever it falls. That's your second place of balance. If you get that, and remember, you don't have to, you can take any of those stopping spots. If you get that far, start to inch those left toes, just getting them a little bit longer until all of a sudden you can straighten out that left leg. And then for me, the second leg just floats once I pick up that first one. Take a few more breaths just to play. Wherever you're at is fine. 2 more breaths. And sometimes I'll kind of set my head down as I'm in that pose. That gives me a tripod to balance with. Eventually you try to float off a bit, but the head's fine, it's good. Beautiful. Coming back down, a low kneeling or a high kneeling position. This time clasp your hands together and jump the right wrist out. You're pulling the left hand back on those clasped fingers. Good. Feel proud of yourself no matter what just happened. And sometimes that's exactly how you feel. What just happened? I don't even know. But that's the fun part of yoga, is this is life. Go ahead and switch to the left wrist. Feel yourself consciously breathing deep and full to help slow down the body. Flip your hands around the other direction, and then left hand pulls back so that the opposite side of the right wrist gets stretched out. And flip it around to left. Good work. As you start to release the fingers, let yourself just have a moment to open and close the hands. And then start to roll your fists out. it almost seems indication. It almost seems like a counter indication that that actually using your wrists like that, putting weight onto them, even down dog, can eventually make the bones and the muscles stronger. It seems like it's, you know, that jamming into it doesn't do that, but that's how our body works. You do some pressure against things, even muscles pulling against bones to make the muscles stronger also makes the bones stronger. So it's making it so maybe we can prevent ourselves from carpal tunnel. If you're able to shake it out now, let yourself just have a few more breaths here. Good. As we're taking our last couple of stretches, cooling our body, I want us to play with one more fun pose, building up on where we were starting earlier with a seated position. And this is building up to a pose called compass or sundial pose. Either way, I think it goes by both names. So let's take a moment. The left leg is crossed in front of us. Let's baby cradle this right hip out. Just listen to the story this hip is telling you. Maybe it's so different in the beginning of class. Good. Grabbing the left hand onto the foot, the right hand onto the bottom of the calf and ankle. Try to get your shoulder under that inside of the knee. The right hand planting off to the floor again, just like it was earlier. Now with sundial pose, the left hand rotates to the outside of the foot. We do lift the right hip up, so now we're balancing all of our weight on the left hip. And then from here, we try to straighten this leg upward, try to pop your head free, so that way you're not just sacrificing your spine. Let's go 2 more breaths. Wherever you ended up, it's fine. Now keep the left hand on the foot, completely unwind the right arm, it's free. The hand goes to the floor. We try to slowly lower this leg down. When the leg is open, rotate your torso toward that leg, walk it down. Good, hands come to the inside of the foot, walking directly forward. Good work. Second side, tuck the right leg in. Baby cradle the left. Start to work the left shoulder under the left knee. Getting it as deep and as far as it can go. That's what helps it. It's like a little shelf. Left hand plants off to the left. We lift up the left hip, so we're balancing on the right hip. The right hand is on the outside of that left foot. And then when you're ready, try to straighten it as much as you can. Bring out the head. Two more breaths. From here, leave the hand on the foot, unwind the left arm. Set the foot down wide, and then turning the torso toward that left leg, walk yourself down. And maybe that was the most, the deepest pose outside of your comfort zone today, who knows? Just be grateful that you got this chance to play and explore. If we are always comfortable in life, I don't think we're growing. So this is a chance to be with some really fun new things. Go ahead and walk through the center, trying to reach long. Our last couple of breaths here. And let's prepare ourselves to go all the way down onto the ground. Some of us might want one last pose or two. Take that time if you feel that inclination in your body. Whenever you feel complete and happy, we find ourselves just simply resting in Shavasana. Follow deep breaths traveling into the nose and out the nose. Begin to deepen your inhales and your exhales. Introduce little movements back to the fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Stretching out like we're waking up first thing in the morning. Eventually rolling over to a nice fetal position on one side. Take another couple of breaths being with your body. When you're ready to press your way all the way up, come to a comfortable seated place, any position that feels good for you. Hands joined together in front of the heart. And have this thought resting on the back of your mind as we now transition forward into the rest of our day. How can I bring myself just slightly outside my comfort zone today? What does that look like for me today in my life? And with that thought to help lead us forward, let's wrap up this time we got to share together with the sound of Om, inhaling together now. Om. May we be filled with light and happiness and peace. Namaste.